What in the world is a SWOT analysis? Okay, I get you. You probably have heard this word thrown around a lot. I talked about it in the strategic planning video, but a SWOT analysis is basically a method of digging in deep and really analyzing your organization, your business, any type of entity to figure out that strategy and really figure out where your organization is. So SWOT, it's SWOT, is just an acronym. Woohoo! Okay. That stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this is the type of the things that we are going to like dig in for your organization, and even those like specific parts of your organization, right? If we're just looking at your communications and how that's going and how that's doing, we're looking at your strengths. What are you really, really good at, right? What is working really, really well? And how can we continue to capitalize on that? And then we want to look at your weaknesses. Okay, what's not going so great? What are we bad at? Where are we falling through? Where are those gaps that we're missing? And how can we turn one those weaknesses into strength, or maybe just like get rid of all those weaknesses altogether? For instance, if we're spending a lot of time and energy on specific social media platforms that are bringing in very, very return on investment and a very, very little return on investment, maybe that's, a point of opportunity of something that we just need to get rid of, right? We don't necessarily need to spend as much time on that platform. We don't need to put in effort into it if most of our engagement is somewhere else. And then the O stands for opportunities. And that is looking at stuff outside of our organization, right? So our strengths and our weaknesses are internal things. These are things that we're already doing. Those are the things that we basically have some kind of control over that we're looking at. Now, when we get into our opportunities and threats, these are more external things, or these are things that we don't have quite as much control over, but they could possibly help or hurt us, right? So our opportunities are things that are going on outside, externally, that could help our organizations, opportunities that we have not looked at. Again, if we're talking about communications, perhaps that is a social media platform that is really popping off, that a lot of people that we have talked to are on there. A lot of our community, particularly a lot of our audience is on there and moving to that platform. That's an opportunity for us, right? Or another opportunity perhaps is different things that are, happening out in the world. Maybe people are getting really, really interested in environmentalism. People are starting to think about these things more in our community. And if you are an environmental organization, this is an opportunity for you, right? This is an opportunity to draw in more audience. This is an opportunity to start educating more people. This is an opportunity to get out there more. And then we come to our threats, which I generally do like a swap thing instead of a SWOT, because I feel like threats is just wild and crazy when we can really just be looking at them as potential challenges, just things that are going to come up, right? So these are these external things that can potentially hurt your organization. These are things like different policies, governmental policies that are coming down that could potentially harm and have an effect on your organization, how you operate, have an effect on funding. We're seeing this stuff right now, right? So these are the things that in your SWOT analysis, you're starting to look a little forward. So our strengths and our weaknesses are internally, and they're things that are happening like right now, right here. Our opportunities and threats are external, and they're more looking at like long term and things that we could be utilizing, or things that we need to be on the lookout for and really plan our way around those, and how we how we avoid those threats, maybe, or even how we can work our way around them and prepare for them in a sense. So that is just like a really simple, easy breakdown on SWOT and that analysis. But what I want to get into now is, now that you know what each of those things stands for, recognizing how you can put those together to really create this beautiful analysis for your organization. First, we are going to look at four key areas that I think you should analyze within your SWOT analysis. Number one is just your operations, right? This is the systems that run your organization. We're talking about your board, your staff, volunteers, the systems and procedures and processes that move all of those things and help you to do what you do. Like, what do those look like? How are those operating? How are things moving? How are your internal communications that are really allowing you to have the impacts and fulfill the mission that you guys have? I think the next thing is just programming. So, like, what kind of services do you offer? What programs do you do? What is your organization doing? Like, how are you fulfilling your mission? And how are those programs working? Like, do you have engagement from the community? What are people saying about those things? What do they think? Are you perhaps missing some kind of opportunity out there in a program that your audience and your community wants, but you are not yet offering? Again, also, even when it comes to programming, is there an opportunity for another organization that you can partner with, right? So we're looking at operations and we're looking at programming. So the third area is financial, because we all know your organization does not run without money. So looking at those processes, looking at your systems, your budgeting, the revenue, where is your money coming from? Where is it going? Making sure that we have like diversified sources. If we don't, maybe that's something to look at, right? So your financial component is next up in one of those key areas that you need to analyze. And then the last one, and not the least important, probably one of the most important areas, is just your communication. So I mentioned internal communications when we talked about your operations, but your internal and external communications can also just come under this communications bubble as well, and just making sure that we are reaching our audience, that we are reaching our stakeholders, our funders, our donors in all the ways possible and imaginable, right? And of course, and that making sure our communications are effective. I often talk about our newsletters. First of all, just to start, a lot of organizations don't have newsletters, right? They don't have constant sustainable communication with their funders and their donors. So if you don't, get on that. But if you do, you want to make sure that they're engaged with this new, like, things they're opening it. Are they opening it? Are they reading it? Are they actually looking at it, or are they just looking at it as this like boring thing? So we want to make it interesting and exciting and something that they actually want to get into. And if that's a problem, maybe, that's an area that we'll look at. This is stuff that we are analyzing. So again, just to go back, y'all know I like a refresh and a rerun. So the four key areas that we are looking at in our SWOT analysis is our operations, our programming, our financial components, and the communication. And of course, just to close this out, your SWOT analysis is nothing without a plan, right? The whole point is to take this SWOT analysis and turn it into an actual plan that you can use. It's part of the strategic planning process. It is part of just creating real good, informed, data-driven decisions for your organization. And so the idea is to take all of this, to really analyze it and figure out how you can use those strengths to capitalize on opportunities, how we can limit those weaknesses or use strengths to bring up those weaknesses so that we are not in tight spots, and so that those threats and those potential challenges are not going to harm and affect our organization, or at the very, very least, that we have a plan, right? We have like this a crisis plan in place. So if those threats and those potential challenges ever come along, we're ready, right? We're not scrambling, just trying to figure things out. We have a plan and we know exactly where we can go. We know exactly how the organization can pivot in order to circumvent anything that might get in the way of us having the impact that we want to have. That is it for right now, but I am not going to leave you guys hanging because I have a small little ebook that walks through all of this for you, that breaks down your SWOT analysis. It breaks down how to do your SWOT analysis as well, and gives you a really good example of what it looks like to capitalize on those strengths and those opportunities and to limit those weaknesses in order to get you where you want to go. So if you want to have it, we'll drop it in the description below and you guys can to pick that up in a quick little easy guide to guide you through your SWOT analysis and get you into your strategic planning process.